As an aside, I've actually been thinking a lot about Kim today because the very first time we ever did any public panel for Supernatural, period, was at the Paley Fest during our first season.
With Kim.
And we had no idea that anyone was even watching the show. And then there was like a crowd like you guys, and we were like, oh my God, people seem to actually watch this. And anyway, and so Kim was with us, and so I hope he's with us here now.
Do you miss Soulless Sam, or are you glad he's gone?
Both. I do miss Soulless Sam. I really, really enjoyed playing Soulless Sam. And if y'all disagree, then...
No, wasn't he awesome?
Yeah,
totally chilling is that, like, we love what you did with it, by
Thanks,
the way.
Man.
Really
well, great material to work with. But I've not been shy about the fact that I like to play a little bit darker, a little bit disturbed. I've had a wonderful time as Sam, and he's disturbed enough. But I did have a fun time kind of playing with, I guess, what the writers have been playing with, what is a soul, where does it reside, what's its influence on your personality and your decisions. So I had a great time. I'm happy to be back, but I do miss the little guy.
And I have to read this question just because it's the best phrasing ever. You know, and we talked a little bit about this backstage, but for the fans, Jensen, do you think that Dean is finally getting back to his usual self now that Sam is all soulful Care Bear again?
I missed you, Care Bear.
Yes, I do, and it was kind of a relief for me because for the first half of the season, it was difficult, you know, to build a relationship with not only the actor but with a character for 5 years, and then to have that relationship severed, but then still have to work with that person was very difficult for me as an actor too. I mean, and it's a testament to what Jared was doing. I thought he was doing great as Soulless Sam, but he wasn't playing the character that I'm used to working with. So it was really, I struggled with it. In fact, I called down and talked to these guys about it, and I'm like, I'm kind of feeling way out of my comfort zone here, and I don't know what's going on. And I just didn't have those tools to use anymore that I had for the past 5 years. So I was very relieved when I read that episode and he was getting a soul back, because then I could go back to playing Dean the way that I'm normally playing Dean, and it was difficult, but you know, it was a good storyline.
Just this past week, Bob Singer was like, hey, you know, I happened to be watching TNT this morning, and the pilot was on. I was like, oh God, that scene where they walked to the Impala. And like, for the writing of it, I mean, I'm talking about the writing. I mean, the guys are always nailing it in performance. I mean, really and truly, it's like, there are scenes where you just didn't have time. And for instance, like just to bring that back, because I just thought about it just the other day, like the pilot where they walk to the Impala and Sam and Dean are talking, and they're talking about like nothing that two human beings would ever talk about, but just setting up the franchise of the show. Well, when Dad raised us to be hunters ever since we were 3 years old. And the other one's like, I know. And the other one's like, and then he always had us fighting after the creature that took Mom, and he never raised us properly. And I always wanted the other one to be like, I know, who are you talking to? But it's not me, because I know all this information. And so, what third party are you giving this exposition to? So anyway, you're never happy with at least on the writing side, with all of it, and like look at it. What if it's 6 years later, and like you can tell, like I'm not over it.
So in the first episode that Castiel shows up in, he's trying to communicate with Dean, and in so doing, his voice, his angelic voice, is exploding television sets and breaking windows. And so I, consummate guest star that I am, thought, oh, you know, I'm going to do this really deep, gravelly, kick-ass kind of window-breaking voice. And I may be running into medical problems now. I mean, it has been brutal on my throat. So yeah, regret a little bit. You know, what would be nice is if somehow Castiel like has a tank of helium with him, and then he just talks like I do normally. You know,
I think you should talk like
some way to justify
Castiel
it.
from French Mistake.
Yeah.
Hello.
I remember when we filmed that scene too, and he came in, and this was the first time I'd worked with him, and he went into this voice and this spiel, and after the first take, I turned to our camera department, and I just went, "What is he?" I was like, "Did he audition?" He knows that. I've told him that, and I continue to tell him that all the time. So.
He said the same thing to me because I didn't have a scene with him. And I was like, hey, how's the new guy? He's like, really nice. He's
What the hell is he doing on camera?
he's strange. Like, it was never bad because he's not a bad actor, obviously. He's like, he's really strange. So we'd walk past him, and he's like, I think he's in character. Look. And were you? Because I remember specifically one moment, he was sitting in the back of a grip truck eating something. Must have been yogurt or granola or something. But we walked past, and Jensen kind of gives me this, because we're going from like stage 3 to our trailers, and he's like, there he is. We kind of looked, and we both sort of did like...
Look, there's the freak.
And I was like, but Misha has a very pensive look about him if he's just relaxing. So I was like, yeah, it looks like he's thinking or something.
and or on the toilet.
Yeah. Or both.
But I will say that his consistency in that character has been...
His saving grace.
It has. And it's really grown on me. Nice job, buddy.